This is Jake Bazicki with an ACT Science Research Summaries question. Now this question is asking us to look at the health impacting chemicals and to see which one is the most abundant in Cambodian wells that were sampled. So if you read the article or you can read the question, the passage, you can see that they're measuring different concentrations of arsenic, fluoride, nitrate, and manganese in these different wells in Cambodia. And they took some data on the percentage of the wells that were exceeding the CDWQS, or the Cambodian Drinking Water Quality Standard. If you ever are unsure of an acronym, look up in the passage; it should be there. And then you can see the number of wells that were exceeding it here, as well as the average concentration of the material of the substance, the maximum value of the substance, and the well that had the highest level, the well that had the lowest level, and the standard by the CDWQS. So, and what we can do is, for this question, we're asked which one of these chemicals is most abundant. And so the real question here is, which one of these metrics do you look to see which means the most number of wells? And so you might be tempted to look at the mean, for example, and see that arsenic has the highest mean. It has the highest, on average, there was more arsenic in the water than there was, at least in micrograms. It seems like even if you look at the numbers, it looks like there is more arsenic in the water, because on average it looks higher. But you have to be careful about the units, because that might not actually be true. But this is not the measure we should be using, because this gives you the average concentration. It doesn't tell you what was the most abundant. It doesn't tell you how many wells. It doesn't tell you how many wells had the most of the substance, or at least in which well the substance was the most abundant. And to find that out, you really need to be looking at the number of wells in which this substance was exceeding the quality standard. And so you can either look at the number of wells here, and look down the chart here, or you can look at the percentage of wells that exceeded it. And I think either one will work, but the percentage of wells, because they're all coming from the same number of wells, but the percentage of wells makes the most sense, because we're looking at which had the highest percentage of wells containing dangerous standards. And we can see that arsenic, similarly with the high mean, looks like it could be a good contender, but really manganese is the answer, because manganese has the highest value down here of 19.48 versus 12.49 or any of these smaller values. So manganese is actually going to be the right answer.